Epictetus opens the Enchiridion with a single sentence that split the ancient world in two. Some things are in our control, and some are not. In our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions. Read that list again. Reputation. Not yours. It was never yours. For 20 centuries this teaching has been called the dichotomy of control, and it is the hinge on which all Stoic freedom turns. Every follower on every platform lives in the second category. What another human does with their thumb belongs to them, not to you. When you tie your sense of self to a number that lives on someone else's server, you have handed a stranger a leash and asked them to walk you. Epictetus put it more directly in the Discourses. If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. If your growth requires the approval of the audience, you will never say the thing that grows you. And this is where it gets counterintuitive. The unfollow you resent is not a loss. It is a correction. It is a person telling you the truth about the exchange the two of you were running. They were paying you attention in exchange for a version of yourself that pleased them, and the moment you became too honest, too strange, too real, they closed the account. Epictetus would say, "Good. You just found the border of your own honesty. Now you know exactly how much of yourself you had been renting out." If this is landing, save this video. You will want to come back to this the next time you feel the pull to check your numbers. Because here is what nobody tells you about the man who taught this: he learned it in a place none of us would survive. Epictetus was born a slave around the year 55 in Phrygia, in the household of a wealthy freedman of the Emperor Nero. His name in Greek means simply, acquired. He was property. Ancient sources tell us his master, in a fit of cruelty, twisted his leg until it broke, and Epictetus lived the rest of his life lame. He owned almost nothing. A lamp, a straw mat, a wooden bowl. When his iron lamp was stolen from his home, he said the thief had paid a much higher price than the lamp was worth. He had paid with his character. Later, freed but still poor, Epictetus was exiled from Rome by the Emperor Domitian, who feared philosophers because they could not be threatened. Think about that. The most powerful man in the known world was afraid of a limping ex-slave who taught for free in a rented room. Why? Because Domitian had followers. Millions of them. Epictetus had a mat. And Epictetus was the freer man. He wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He had watched senators tremble at a raised eyebrow from a mad emperor, and he had watched a slave with nothing eat a piece of bread in peace. He knew which of those men owned his own mind. We will get to what he told his students to actually do about this in a moment, and it is where most modern advice gets it completely wrong. Because the answer is not to stop caring. Epictetus never said that. What he said was more surgical, and more useful, and it is the thing that turns an unfollow from a wound into a compass. You open the app. The number is lower than yesterday. The platform, designed by people who studied Skinner boxes, has arranged the interface so this loss registers in your body before your mind can name it. Your chest tightens. You scroll to see who left. You wonder what you said. This is the moment Epictetus was writing for. He would ask you a single question. Was this follower in your control? No. Then their leaving cannot harm what is yours. What is yours is the sentence you wrote, the honesty you offered, the value you tried to give. That work is untouched. Only the audience is smaller. And a smaller audience of people who want the real you is worth more than a larger audience renting a costume. Here is the practice, in 3 steps, exactly as Epictetus taught it. First, every morning, before you open any app, recite the dichotomy. Out loud if you can. My reputation is not mine. My follower count is not mine. My work is mine. My honesty is mine. My attention is mine. You are drawing the border before the world tries to erase it. Second, use premeditatio malorum on your numbers. Sit for 1 minute and imagine every follower gone. All of them. Feel the sting. Then ask, am I still able to write, to think, to love, to speak the truth? If yes, you have proven the loss was never fatal. You have rehearsed the freedom. Third, and this is the one most people avoid, post the sentence you were afraid would cost you followers. Not to provoke. To test. Every honest sentence that costs you an audience is a receipt of your own freedom. Epictetus would call each unfollow a small tax paid to the truth. Now think back to those 2 questions from the beginning. Losing followers felt like losing something you owned because the platform trained you to believe you owned it. And the man in chains laughed at the man with a crown because he knew the crown was heavier. CTA, if any part of this reached the place it needed to reach, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Daily Stoic wisdom from Marcus, Seneca, and Epictetus, one video at a time. And drop this in the comments, has losing a follower, a friend, or a job ever quietly given you a freedom you did not expect? I read every one, and the honest answers are the ones I return to. But that is only half the story. O you Tiro, because Epictetus taught one more thing, and it is the challenge I want to leave you with today. He said the person who has stopped fearing the loss of what is not theirs has already begun living. So today, before the day ends, do one thing you would have censored yesterday out of fear of being unfollowed. One honest sentence. One risked opinion. One quiet no. That is Stoicism in a single breath. If this hit, my next video on how Marcus Aurelius handled public insults will make even more sense now. Epictetus was born a slave in Rome, exiled by an emperor, and owned almost nothing, yet he taught the most powerful lesson on freedom the ancient world ever produced. In this video we unpack why the Stoic philosopher believed losing followers, losing status, and losing approval is not a wound but a compass pointing back to yourself. Using real passages from the Enchiridion and the Discourses, we walk through the dichotomy of control, the historical life of Epictetus under Nero and Domitian, and 3 concrete Stoic practices you can use the next time you watch your number drop. If you have ever felt that quiet tightening when someone unfollows, unfriends, or walks away, this is the ancient answer nobody on the timeline will give you. Timestamps: midnight the unfollow moment 0:30 what you will learn 1 o'clock the dichotomy of control 3 o'clock Epictetus the slave who outfreed an emperor 6 o'clock 3 Stoic practices for the modern feed 9 o'clock your challenge today subscribe for daily Stoic wisdom from Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca.